So in this problem, everybody, it says, which of the following cannot be x? So let's go ahead and mark this as the first opportunity for us to see potentially what we may have done wrong if we tried this out before I started working on this. So again, which of the following cannot, let's circle that, cannot be x? All right, so it says the 9 numbers, all of these in x, have a median of 7. So let me just count that. 9 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 with that missing number x. Okay, great. Sounds good. So it says that the median here is 7. So if I go ahead and draw out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces, I know that the median is going to be 7 right here. It says, again, a median of 7. That means that my middle value, my value that is directly in the middle of all of these, is going to be 7. When we have 9, you're going to have 4 on the left, 4 on the right, and 1 in the middle. This is where our median belongs, right there. My party people, before I continue, regardless if we're confused or not, can we agree that so far in the setup, we have 9 spots because of the 9 numbers, and the middle, the median value, is 7. Can we agree with that before we continue on with the rest of this little idea that we got going on? Perfect. So now let's move it forward and let me show you how we'll handle this. 7 is the middle number. As I'm placing these values on this list, everything that's 7 or less is going to go to the left side, and everything that is 7 or more on the right side. And carefully pay attention. I said 7 or less or 7 or more, right? So we just have to go ahead and leave any extra 7s kind of lingering, but I see that there's a 7 potentially right there. So cool, we'll go ahead and just mark that one off right now. With the other numbers, -4, 0, 3, and 5, all of those on a number line are to the left of 7. These are all smaller than 7. And we have how many values that are less? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's perfect. I'll go ahead and write all of those right there. I also then have 3 numbers greater than 7 at 9, 12, and 15 that even though we have 4 spots, I don't know if the 9 is here or there. And because I don't know where it is, I'll just say that, hey, look, I know for a fact it's on the right side, and we have 9, 12, and 15 for a fact on the right side. So when we think about that, everybody, when we think about this, the missing value x, and just for the sake of this, I'll just say like 9, 12, and 15. When we think about this, does x have to be greater than or equal to 7 or smaller than or equal to 7? What does x have to be for it to fit in this list? Does it have to be greater than or equal to 7 or smaller or less than or equal to 7? Yeah, it has to be greater. X has to be greater. So we can go ahead and say this here. Look, we can say the missing number has to be greater than or equal to 7. And the reason I say or equal to is because if it's also 7, we're totally fine. We're actually completely fine because we can move these over here and we can write a 7 right there. The median stays 7. So that's what I meant by that. So we can have 7, we can have 8, we can have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yada, yada, yada. We can have 100, we can have a million, we can have a billion. As long as it's bigger than 7, we're fine. So my party people, when we read the question carefully, which of the following cannot be x, what is the opposite of greater than or equal to 7? What is the opposite of greater than or equal to 7? The opposite would be less, right? The exact opposite would be less than 7. And the only value that does not fit the bill, that's less than 7, is answer choice B. All of the other values would fit. 10 would work. Take a look over here. 10 would absolutely work. I can move the 9 over here. I could put the 10 right here. It would work. The median is still 7. I can also use 7, just like I showed you earlier. So that works, that works. 20 would also work. I can move the 12 over here, 15 over there, and I could put the 20 right there. It would still work. And so because the question asks, which of the following cannot be X, well, we're asking which of these values are not greater than or equal to 7. And 6 is the only one. So hopefully that makes sense, my party people, and you'll have plenty of opportunities to continue trying this out. All right, next problem up. So we are here to calculate the mean of 4, 6, 8, and 10. So when we want to go ahead and calculate this, we just want to think about that formula to calculate mean. And that's going to be, we're going to add up all of these values, add them all up, and then divide by the number of numbers. So here's how that's going to look. We're going to say mean equals 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10. And then we are going to divide by the number of numbers. And if you've been practicing the same number of numbers for a while, you might get tricked into just putting the last number that you thought of. But remember, you have to count them 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we will divide by 4. So from here, my party people, we're going to go ahead and add these up. So here we are. So 4 plus 6, that's 10. 8 plus 10 is 18. So we'll add these together, and that's going to give us 28. So we have 28 divided by 4, and everybody, 28 divided by 4 is going to give us what? Yeah, that's going to give us 7. That's going to give us 7, and that'll conclude this question here. But I want to make sure you understand that another way that we can think about this, thinking about mean as that balance point, you might be able to tell that something's a little consistent here. You know, it's 2, then 4, or excuse me, 4, then 6, then 8, then 10. They're all 2 apart. So when your numbers are all spread out, you just think about what number is perfectly in the middle between all of them. And in this case, my party people, what is the number that's directly between 6 and 8? Yeah, that's going to be 7. So in the case that all of your numbers are spread out evenly, you're just going to ask, hey, what number is directly between all of your numbers? So you can think about it that way, but I really want to see how we handle the next problems to see if we can use that there.